In the last videos we covered very clearly about throw keyword, correct, right? So for which purpose we can use throw keyword, what are various important cases we discussed, right? Sir, now the next cinema what I have to start, throws keyword. Are you getting what is that word? Throws keyword we have to discuss, right? Sir, anyway, somewhere we discussed about checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions in the last videos. That concept is required to get much clarity about throws keyword, right? Okay, well, let me go for a small chota example. Can you tell whether this code is going to compile or not? We covered the same example in the last sessions. Public static void main string array args, public static void main string array args. Here I am taking print writer pw is equal to new print writer of abc.txt, new print writer of abc.txt, and pw.println of hello, like this I am taking, sir. Hello, like I am taking. Sir, can you please tell, observe very carefully about this one, sir. Class test, public static void main print writer pw is equal new print writer of abc.txt, pw.println of hello, like this I am taking. Sir, now print writer is available inside IO package. That's why import java.io.star also I am taking. Can you please guide, is this code will compile or not? Same example I covered while discussing exception, checked exception and unchecked exceptions. Can you please tell, is this code will compile or not? Yes, friends, will compile or not? No, because compiler will ask, Durga, you are writing hello to abc.txt at runtime, so there may be a chance abc.txt file may not available. There may be a chance of file not found exception, which is a checked exception. You didn't handle that checked exception. How I can compile this code? Are you getting right? So in our program, if there is any chance of rising checked exception, sir, compulsory we should handle that checked exception. Otherwise the code won't compile. Okay, in this case there may be a chance of file not found exception, which is a checked exception, so compulsory we should handle, but we didn't report about this exception. That's why compile time error we are going to get, sir. Can you please observe that compile time error saying unreported exception, which exception you didn't report? java.io.file not found exception, java.io.file not found exception, unreported exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. This is the compile time error we are going to get. Are you getting the point, right? So in our program, if there is any chance of rising checked exception, there is a possibility, that's all, it is not compulsory, man. If there is any chance of rising checked exception, compulsory we should handle that checked exception. Otherwise we will get what? Compile time error saying unreported exception, so file not found exception must be caught or declared to be thrown, like this, right? Let me show this one. Have a look once here. See, this is the same example. Same example I am taking, sir. Observe carefully, right? Sir, import java.io.star class test public static void main print writer pw is equal, same example only. Now let me compile this code, sir. Java C test.java. If I can take Java C test.java, have you observed unreported exception, file not found exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. Unreported exception, file not found exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. This is the error by default we are going to get. It is a compile time error. Clear for all of you, right? So in our program, if there is any chance of rising checked exception, compulsory we should handle that checked exception right. Okay, well, now second example, sir. Observe one more example so that you will get much clarity. Here class test, public static void main method, public static void main method, string array args. Here I'm taking thread dot sleep of 1000 milliseconds. Our favorite method sleep. Thread dot sleep of 1000 milliseconds. Now system dot out dot println. Sir, I slept very happily. Like this I'm taking, sir. That's all. This is my code. Okay. Now I will ask, array compiler, can you please compile this code? Then immediately compiler is going to tell, Durga, I can't compile. Array, what is the problem? Compiler will tell, Durga, you are calling sleep method. Main thread will entered into sleeping state. Sleeping state. If the main thread entered into sleeping state, there may be a chance of other threads may interrupt, which may cause interrupted exception. If a thread is in sleeping state or waiting state, some other thread may interrupt, then automatically what will happen? Interrupted exception by default we will get. Durga, there may be a chance of interrupted exception in your program. There is a possibility, but you didn't report about this exception. How the code is going to be compiled? Okay, like so in our program, if there is any chance of rising checked exception, compulsory we should handle that checked exception, otherwise the code is not going to compile. Now in this case, what compile time error you are going to get, sir? Unreported exception. Which exception is not reported, sir? Java.lang.interrupted exception. Interrupted exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. This is the compile time error by default you are going to get. Are you getting? So let me execute this one also so that you people can feel more comfortable, right? Observe this same example, but anyway, now import statement is not required. Just I'm calling thread dot sleep of thread dot sleep of just 1000 milliseconds, and then just I'm taking system dot out dot println I slept very happily. Like this I took, sir. Now I'm asking compiler, can you please compile this code? Immediately compiler is going to tell, can you please observe? Unreported exception, interrupted exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. This is the compile time error by default you are going to get. Remember this one, sir. So from these two examples you got only 1 point. So in our program, if there is a chance of, if there is a possibility of checked exception, compulsory we should handle that checked exception, otherwise the code won't compile. Clear for all of you, right? So how you can handle this checked exception? So there are two ways are there, those ways I will discuss. Clear for all of you, right? Up to this, sir. Now I hope it's a very clear. In this case the code won't compile. Unreported exception, interrupted exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. How you can handle this exception? How you can handle this compile time error? There are two ways are there. The first way, sir, by using try catch. Are you getting what the first way, sir? By using try catch. Suppose best example to understand this one very clearly, sir, just observe that. I want to give one assignment for you. Okay, in the offline classroom, I want to give one assignment to the students. So compulsory you have to submit by tomorrow, like I'm telling. Then you have, a student can have two options. One is he can do that assignment on his own, or otherwise he can delegate that work to his friend. Array, can you please do this assignment so that I will submit? Like there are. So total how many ways he can handle the situation? Two ways. He is doing on his own, or second way he is delegating that responsibility to his friend. Observe this. These two words better to keep. So doing on his own is nothing but try catch approach. Are you getting? Delegating the responsibility for his friend is something like a throws keyword. I will explain in detail. Just a basic idea in your mind better to keep, sir. Now try catch. We can handle the compile time error whatever raised in this way, right? Here observe the same example. Class test public static void main string array args. Class test public static void main string array args. Now here I am taking try thread dot sleep. Try thread dot sleep of 1000 catch interrupted exception. Catch interrupted exception. Like this I am taking, sir. Catch interrupted exception like. Sir, now I will ask, hey, compiler, can you please compile this code? Compiler, can you please compile this code? Now compiler never going to raise unreported exception because I reported about interrupted exception. Boss, if there is a possibility of interrupted exception, I know if interrupted exception is going to come, this is the catch block. Like this I'm trying to convince compiler, then the compiler feels happy, then the code is going to be compiled. But within the catch block, what code we wrote, that is nonsense to the compiler. Compiler never going to check within the catch block what code you wrote, whether you define catch block or not. Up to that compiler is going to consider. So this is the first way. If really interrupted exception is coming, this is the way I can handle. Like this I'm defining catch block for that, so compiler can feel happy. There is no compile time error. Happily the code is going to compile. Observe that. Let me use this approach here. See this in our last example. Observe that. Of course, let me remove this SOP for simplicity's sake. Okay, now can you please tell, is it going to compile? No. Compiler is asking, array, there is a possibility of interrupted exception, but you didn't report about this exception. Like this compile time error we are going to get. Just observe. I showed already. Observe this one. Observe this. Unreported exception, interrupted exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. This is the error we are getting, right? Now my question is, let me take try block. Let me take try block here. Within the try block, just I am taking this statement, sir. Throw, boss, while executing this one, if interrupted exception is coming, if interrupted exception is coming, then this is the catch block. Of course, within the catch block, what code you are writing, that is my compiler never going to write. So I'm convincing the compiler, if interrupted exception is coming, yes, I reported about this one. This is the way I'm going to handle. Like the compiler can feel very happy. Okay, so with our arrangement, right? Now I will ask the compiler, can you please compile like this? Now observe what will happen. Happily the code will be compiled. Now observe that Java C test.java. Yes, the code compiles fine. Now if I run this code also, okay, here only main thread is there. No one is going to interrupt. Sir, after 1 second immediately it will be stopped. After 1 second immediately the program will be stopped. That's all, sir. So this is one way how you can handle the compile time error which is raised, right? What is the first approach, right? By using try catch. There is another approach is there, sir. I don't know how to handle. My caller is going to take care. Okay, like I want to delegate responsibility to the caller. The caller may be main method, the caller may be another method or JVM. Of course, what it means I will explain with an example. Observe carefully. Here I am taking same example. Second way, sir, by using. Can you please tell which keyword? Respond, man. Why you are silent? By using which keyword? Okay, by using throws keyword. Are you getting? By using throws keyword. Okay, like this is the second approach. By using throws keyword. Now observe class test, class test, public static void main string array args, public static void main string array args. Okay, now I'm taking thread dot sleep of 1000 milliseconds. Okay, like this. Now immediately compiler is asking, hey, main method, in your area there may be a chance of interrupted exception. You didn't report about this exception. How I can compile time error we are going to get. Then what this main method is going to do? Yes, boss, can you please ask, hey compiler, can you please ask my caller, I want to delegate this responsibility to my caller, like this, right? Now throws interrupted exception, throws interrupted exception. Okay, like this one, sir, very important keyword, throws interrupted exception. What is the meaning of throws, right? To delegate responsibility of exception handling to the caller. Okay, for that purpose we can use a throws keyword, remember that. Now whenever compiler asking how you can handle interrupted exception, now the main method showing, boss, I delegated this responsibility to my caller, ask my caller, like, then immediately compiler will check who is the caller of main method. Can you please tell who is the caller of main method? JVM is the caller. Oh, if JVM is the caller, why I have to worry? Happily the code is going to compile. Yes, the code will compile fine. Everyone can able to understand, right? So what is the purpose of throws keyword? To delegate responsibility of exception handling to the caller, Now caller is responsible to handle this exception. Okay, observe carefully. Here I'm taking, so no try catch, just this is, sir, just I didn't use try catch, I didn't use a throws keyword. Now observe what will happen, sir. The code won't compile time error. I didn't use a try catch, I didn't use a throws keyword. What will happen? Unreported exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. Okay, like, sir, in which method it is coming, sir? Main method, the problem is coming. Then immediately whenever compiler asked, oh main, you didn't report about this exception, where? The handling code, like, immediately main is going to tell, I'm delegating this responsibility to the caller. Like, how we can delegate? Very simple, sir. Can you please guide? Which keyword I have to use? Throws. Which exception? Interrupted exception. Throws interrupted exception, like this, right? Now whenever we are using throws interrupted exception, now it is delegated to the JVM. Oh, if JVM is going to handle, why I have to worry? Like, compiler is going to fail, happily the code will compile fine. Observe carefully, sir. Here have a look once. Happily the code compiles fine, there is no compile time error, happily the code runs fine, because so interrupted exception is not going to be raised, only main thread is there, the other threads are not there. Okay, that's why interrupted exception is done, happily the code compiles and runs fine. That is the purpose of throws keyword. Everyone in the position to understand clearly, right? So in our program, if there is any chance of rising checker exception, compulsory we should handle, otherwise compile time error, unreported exception. Okay, in how many ways we can handle? There are two ways are there. What are the first ways are? Try catch. So try catch is the first approach. What is the second approach, right? Throws keyword. Okay, try catch already we covered. We are handling that exception, try catch. But throws keyword means we are not handling, we are just delegating this responsibility to the caller. Okay, well, now I have one small doubt. In these two approaches, which approach is the recommended, which approach is the not recommended? Are you getting? Very simple, very simple. If I am giving some assignment, if you are going to do that, well, if you are going to delegate to the next person, not recommended. That person who got responsibility, he may do well, may not do well. That's why so easy to use throws keyword, but this one is not recommended. What the reason for that is, if really interrupted exception occurs, assume that, sir, really occurs, who is the responsible to handle this one in this scenario? Please respond. If really at runtime interrupted exception occurs, who is the responsible to handle this one? JVM is the responsible, because main method delegated that responsibility to JVM. JVM is the responsible. If JVM is going to handle an exception, compulsory it should be abnormal termination only. So even though we are using throws keyword, no guarantee for normal termination, there may be a chance of abnormal termination. That's why throws keyword, try catch, which one is the recommended? Try catch is recommended when compared with the throws keyword. Clear? Are you in the position to understand, right? So if I'm not taking, what is the which approach is the recommended? Try catch, because we are handling manually, right? Now take very special care. If I'm not taking throws, comparative method. If I'm taking throws, no comparative method. Throws keyword just we can use to convince a compiler. Are you getting? If we are not going to use throws, the code won't compile. Throws keyword required only to convince a compiler. Next, usage of throws keyword does not prevent abnormal termination. There may be a chance of abnormal termination. That's why recommended to use a try catch over throws keyword. Next, throws keyword required only for checked exceptions. Usage of throws keyword for unchecked exceptions. Sir, I want to use throws keyword for unchecked exception. There is no impact at all. So throws keyword really required only for checked exception. I want to use for unchecked exceptions, meaningless. So not required. So it is required only for checked exceptions. Clear, right? So what is the purpose of throws keyword? Can you please tell? To delegate responsibility of exception handling to the caller. I will go for one more big example so that you will get much clarity about delegations, right? Okay, sir, let me summarize all important points related to throws keyword. Observe that throws keyword, up to this we covered. We can use throws keyword to delegate responsibility of exception handling to the caller. Are you getting? We can use throws keyword to delegate responsibility of exception handling to the caller. The caller may be JVM or another method. Sir, in our last example, caller of main method is the JVM, but I will go for one more example. There you will see another method. Of course, how it is going to be there, I will explain that. Next, it is required. Throws keyword required only for checked exceptions, and for unchecked exceptions there is no use. So throws keyword required only for checked exception, but for unchecked exception there is no impact at all. Even you can use, no problem, but there is no use. What is the use of using for unchecked exception? No impact. Next, it is required only to convince compiler. Are you getting? It's required only to convince compiler, and its usage does not prevent abnormal termination of the program. Are you getting? It is required only to convince compiler, and its usage does not prevent abnormal termination of the program. Sir, even every time we are using throws, at last JVM is the responsible. If the JVM is the responsible to handle compulsory abnormal termination, because of this point, it is recommended to use a try catch when compared with the throws keyword. Clear, right?